This video is about how to begin selling digital products step by step. It's a complete free course. My name is Marlon Sanders. I've done this full-time since 1997, sold over 70,000 products online, and I want to help you start selling your own digital products. Grab a pen, grab some paper, grab a notepad, whatever you want, because you need to take notes on this. So let's go ahead and dive in. There are three parts to this. Number one, there's the product. Number two, there's your page, your sales page. And number three, there's the promotion of your product. So these are your three essentials. Let's go ahead and dive in. Number one is your product. Thing about the product is people have several objections typically about, well, Marlon, I can't create a product because, and I understand when I started out, I had similar objections to these, so I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels, but let's go ahead and discuss and talk about them. Number one is, I don't know enough. I'm not an expert. When I started out, I certainly was not an expert. But I do have a response to this because there are some teachers of the craft, what some people would call a guru, I just call teachers, who are very high profile and do YouTube videos about you don't have the right to teach anyone unless you got these big, gigantic, magnificent, unbelievable results and you're an expert. You ain't got any right to teach anyone else unless you're already an expert. And I could not possibly, conceivably disagree more. I'll boil it down to just a stupid, simple illustration, and then we'll make it practical. But let's say you're going to a building, and you walk up, and somehow you don't know how to open the door because there's a little bit different. The guy behind you, he walks up, or the gal behind you walks up, and they're like, no, like this. You got to switch this, and then you can open the door. And you're like, oh, okay, thanks. Now, was that person a door opening expert? No. Had they spent 5 years studying doors all over the world to have the right to show you how to open the freaking door? No. You know what they were is they're someone who knew how to open the door. My favorite illustration or example of this guy over on Twitter, which is X now. When he started out, it was Twitter. And he started out and he got 30 followers. And he literally began selling coaching to help people get 30 followers on Twitter. He didn't charge a lot for it, but he did charge. Why? Because people that had no followers and had never been able to get followers, they just wanted to get 30 followers. Then when he got 50 followers, he started doing 50. When he got 100, he started doing 100. Then he did 1,000, and now he's got like 25,000 followers and a very, very, very successful business. I don't believe you have to be the expert of the universe to show someone how to get 50 freaking Twitter followers. If you've done it, you have a right to teach it. That's my philosophy. All right, that's objection number one. I'm not an expert. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That's one of Dan Kennedy's favorite expressions. Number two, well, if I teach this, I'm scared people are going to question me. Well, if you're trying to teach how to get 25,000 X followers and you've got 30 or 50, yes. However, if you're teaching people how to get 50 followers and the person questions you, you're like, well, here's my followers. Do you want to know how to do it or not? If you don't, fine, go learn from someone else. Because what I found is that the person who has 25,000 followers probably has more trouble teaching how to get 30 or 50 followers because they don't remember what it was like anymore. But the person who just got 50 followers, they know what it's like. They were just there, and they can empathize, and they can teach and help you oftentimes, in my opinion, better than somebody that's got 100,000 followers. So don't worry about people questioning you. Just be like, well, here's my results. Do you want to learn or do you not? If you don't, fine, go, leave, next. Right? Number three is it's too hard or it takes too long. And this is one I think that stops a lot of people is because they see the pain as being this big gigantic thing and they see the pleasure as being very limited, possibility of profit being very limited. What I would say about that is there are 5 tips that you can use in order to take away the pain and make it faster, simpler, and easier to create your first digital products as a beginner. Number one is come up with 36 ideas. And this is probably the hardest part for some people. And that's why in my training, I have specific methods for this. But what I recommend is just start learning to brainstorm. And every day, just come up with 5 or 10 new ideas for possible products. Pretty soon, coming up with 36 ideas will be a piece of cake for you. Just start practicing that muscle every day. Number 2, once you get 36 ideas, do what's called a stack rank and pick your best 12. Order them by like how confident you feel in being able to create the product, how fast you think you can create it. Come up with your 12 best ideas. Number 3, do what's called a 12 product survey. I do a little 12 product survey. I ask people which product they'd be most likely to buy. And by doing this little survey, it's not a scientifically accurate survey, although there are ways to do it so it 100% is scientifically accurate by giving people actual money to spend and doing what are called focus groups. I just do little simple surveys, though, because while it may not be 100% predictive, it's very indicative. And if the product you wanted to sell, oftentimes some products only get 0 or 1 vote. You really got to go back and rethink your premise and make sure that you talk to people and that you're meeting a real problem or a need. Number 4, this one I got from Jason Fladlian. He called it 1 problem, 1 solution. Sit down, create the product in 3 hours, and don't get up till it's done. So I really love this rule. It has helped so many people, and it's called the 1 problem, 1 solution. Don't try to solve every problem in the world. Don't try to solve everything. Like if you're teaching people how to get their first 50 or 100 followers on Twitter or X, that's all you're doing. 1 problem, 1 solution. You're not teaching them every method in the world to get followers. You're just teaching them how to get their first 100. Should be a product that you can do in 3 hours at 1 sitting. Now, I call this a quick and dirty product because you can always go back and add to it later. If it sells, you can go back and make it a lot better, add to it, add additional modules, add more bonuses, and so forth. At first, you just need to know, will the product sell? Does the duck quack? Finally, number 5, I create what are called toggle sites. Most page builders have a thing called a toggle. You just drag it onto the page, you click it, and it allows you to insert information on that toggle. And so I just use what are called toggle sites. It makes it very quick to create the product or the members area. So to recap, there are 3 objections on the product creation. Don't know enough, not an expert. People question me, takes too long and it's too hard. And there's 5 things that help you create your product faster. Get 36 ideas, boil it down to your best 12, do a 12 product survey, do 1 problem, 1 solution, create the product in 1 sitting in 3 hours, create your members area as a toggle site. Again, if you want more help with this, my product to producepromote.com deep dives on these things. Number 2 is the page. Now there are 3, this is your sales page, right? There are 3 main obstacles or sticking points that people face, you're likely to face when you do a sales page. I faced these when I was starting out. Number 1 is, you don't know, do I do short copy or long copy? Because if you listen to Facebook groups and you listen to people that don't know what they're saying, they're going to say, oh, people don't read long copy. They don't read long letters. Keep it short. They simply don't know what they're talking about. You can split test short versus long copy, but what you're going to find that in the vast majority of the cases, longer copy is going to win. Now, this depends on a price point. If it's an impulse purchase, yes, you have shorter copy. If it's a considered purchase, that's called an involvement purchase, where the person is emotionally involved and invested in the purchase, then you need a lot more copy. Like a rainbow vacuum cleaners sell, I think, for $3,000 by people knocking on your door. They're not going to walk in your door, spend 10 minutes telling you need to buy this vacuum and it's $3,000. You're going to tell them to get out of town. Instead, it's a 2 or a 3 hour sales presentation in order for you to make the $3,000 investment, or that's what I'm told it is. I haven't been through one of their presentations. So I opt typically for longer copy, but if it's an impulse purchase, yes, it can be shorter copy. Impulse purchase is relevant to your audience, to your market. What's an impulse purchase for them? Number 2, you're scared of the grammar. Marlon, I just don't, and I felt this way when I started out, and I still do sometimes. Like if I'm unsure of the grammar or something, you know what you do? You just make the short sentence shorter. Learn to write in short sentences. It's the best thing that I can possibly tell you. It's a famous guy named Rudolph Flesch that wrote some books about writing, and he's a huge major advocate of keeping your sentences short and keeping the copy readable. You should be writing at about a 3rd grade to a 5th grade level. Right. The other day I read about somebody, they took their emails and they actually simplified the language so it was at a 3rd grade level, which there are programs that can tell you the level your writing is at. I think even Word will do it. And they greatly increased their sales by making the emails at a 3rd grade level. True story. All right. And then number 3, you feel like you don't know what to say in the sales letter. So let's talk about the structure of a sales page or a sales letter. Now, the most basic formula you learn in Copywriting 101, day 1 of Copywriting 101, is called AIDA, Attention, Interest, Desire, Action. Now, this is insufficient to write your full sales letter, but it's a great framework to start with, and then other things fit within this framework. Attention is obviously your headline. Interest is the problems you're going to help the person solve and the pain points, or it's the opportunity that you're going to help them take advantage of. Desire is the presentation of your solution. And then action is the call to action, bonuses, urgency, scarcity, reason for acting now. So attention, interest, desire, action. Now within that, there are sub-points that I teach. I have a separate video in my copywriting playlist. If you go to my playlist, you will see some on writing copy that teaches my 12-step copywriting formula I taught in 120 seminars around the world. I'm just going to give you a few of the most critical and important points here that will be a huge help to you in your copy. Number 1 is write your headline using the 4 U's. I learned these from Michael Masterson and Agora. Unique, ultra-specific, urgent, and useful. So there should be something in the headline that says that it's unique. Number 2, there should be something that's ultra-specific. Number 3, something that's urgent. Number 4, useful. And sometimes it's hard to work all 4 of these into your headline, but you'll find out that typically if a headline doesn't work very good for you, doesn't sell very well for you, it's because you left out one of, oh yeah, I didn't put anything in there that was unique. Oh yeah, I didn't have anything there that, that was ultra specific. Oh yeah, I there was no urgency there. There was no urgency. And so these are 4 elements. And if you will just go to my playlist and find copywriting, I will have videos where I talk in depth about the 4 U's. Now, here's one that I learned from Kyle Milligan on his YouTube channel about copywriting. Great channel, great copywriter, used to write for Agora, and he calls it NESBY, New, Easy, Safe, Big. Safe is synonymous with the word fast. And this is what people want. They want something new. They want something that's easy. They want something that's safe and something that's fast, and they want a potentially big result. So when you look at your headline and you look at what we call the lead or the opening of your sales page, are you talking about anything that's new? Are you emphasizing that it's easy? Are you emphasizing that it's safe or fast? And are you talking about a relatively big results? Now, obviously, you have to comply with FTC laws, especially if you're located in the United States, arguably if you're in another country and sell within the United States. But that is definitely possible. So remember that: new, easy, safe, fast, big. Now, there's a number of different formulas for the headline. Michael Masterson wrote a really great seminal book about leads or the headlines and openings of your sales page. I use one typically that's called the Big Promise. And the reason is because for my audience, that's what typically sells best to them. They like a big, fat, juicy promise. In other words, they want to see the NESBY, New, Easy, Safe, Big in the headline, right? With the 4 U's when it fits in, when possible. So I like to open with a big promise. I like to make my first sentence is the lead of the letter, an expansion on the big promise. Now that's my style. Michael Masterson has this down to an art though, and I do recommend you read his book on leads if you really want to attack copy seriously. Now, I also like to put credibility up front. I learned this many years ago from Bob Serling. Because when you make a really strong, juicy, fat promise, people are going to be naturally respond with skepticism. So what Bob would do is actually put a testimonial right under the headline, or he would put it in the opening of the sales copy and have one, two, or three testimonials there. I did this originally in my formula for in my sales letter for Amazing Formula, which was an enormously popular and seminal product. And I put the credibility up front because my headline was enormously strong. And so I'm an advocate. If you do use a big promise opening, then you probably want to have credibility proof very early on in your sales page. Now, your story. Some people like to tell their story. Some people don't. Some people are good at telling a story. Some people don't. But if you're good at telling a story and you have a compelling story, it can work really effectively to tell a little bit of your story, the before and after. I had this goal, but I ran into these obstacles, this obstacle, that obstacle, this obstacle. It really sucked because of this. And I went on this search and finally, I stumbled across this formula. I stumbled across this solution. Then you typically go in and talk about the big picture of the solution, the big picture of your formula, whatever it is, and then you break it down. Either here's what you're going to discover, you break it down into bullet points, or you break it down into 4 modules. Module number 1, module number 2, module number 3, module number 4. Robert Plank, in his Webinar Crusher course, was a huge advocate of the 4 modules. I found that's really works great. Really works great, whether it's a higher end product or a cheap product. Because if you only have one thing, one ebook or something, and there's no modules, no nothing, it feels a little bit empty, right? So I like having 4 modules in there, but I've also sold just using bullet points. Ben Settle is one of the best bullet point writers. John Carlton, people you would want to study to learn to write bullet points that evoke curiosity. Get in my playlist of copywriting videos and things, I talk a lot more about bullet points. And then we have the price and what's called the price justification. The price justification means that when you present the price, people are like, wow, that's a little bit much. And so you have to somehow justify the price. Now, if you want to read a real masterpiece on ways to justify the price, Zig Ziglar wrote a book many years ago called Secrets of Closing the Sale. And he has some absolutely brilliant illustrations in there of ways to justify the price. One of the coolest ones harks back to his day of setting records selling cookingware. And Zig had this whole reduction to ridiculous close that he used to sell the cookingware, about all the cost savings you would have and everything. And it's worth buying Secrets of Closing a Sale by Zig Ziglar just to read that one close. But he has other ways to justify the price. And if you want to deep dive on this, that's one way. The most typical way people use this is called apples to oranges. You compare the price to something more expensive. You've seen products out there that commonly sell for $1,000, $500 to teach you this. Or for my coaching, I charge $1,000 an hour, which is true. And so there's arguably, $10,000 of my time in this product. So somehow you want to justify the price, comparing it to something more expensive, or having some way, like Zig Ziglar did, the savings of the product that justifies the price. So to recap, in terms of the page, the sales page, the objections are, oh, you need to have short copy. That's not true. I'm scared of bad grammar. Make your sentences shorter and use a program like Grammarly if you have to. I don't use it, but you can. And you're scared you don't know what to say. That's because you don't have a formula for writing the sales letter. You don't understand the concept and the flow of a sales letter, right? The basic flow of a sales letter is AIDA. I talked about using 4 U's in the headline: NESBY, new, easy, safe, big, making a big promise in the headline, putting credibility up front, telling a story if you have a good before-after story, breaking it down into modules or bullet points, having the price justification. Then you go into the guarantee, bonuses, urgency, reason for acting now, right? And then finally, we have promotion, the marketing system, how you're going to get buyers for your digital products. Extremely important thing. There are 3 basic objections on this one. Most people have, and I had these when I started out. I didn't know anyone. Who am I going to sell it to? I don't know anyone, right? No affiliates are going to promote me. No one's going to, there's affiliates out there, but why are they going to pay attention to little old me? And the third one is, well, I just don't know how. I don't have a marketing system. I don't know how to promote it. Thing about affiliates is you just have to contact a lot of people, and you have to be a pleasant person to talk to and deal with. Don't just dump all your JV info into their DMs. Just ask them politely, hey, I noticed you promoted a product on this, and I'm coming up with a launch about something similar, but it's a little bit different. Just wondering if you were interested. I got that opening from Matt McWilliams on his blog. It's a genius one. I do have a product about how to recruit affiliates, and if you want to recruit affiliates, you might want to look at that. Another thing you can do is turn customers into advocates or affiliates. Give them a really super simple way to tell their friends and promote. Make it easy for affiliates to sign up and promote you. Give them emails, give them tools, give them banners, give them ads, social media posts, and so forth. I did that on my recent product at pushbuttonviews.com/go. And then I have another product called the 20-minute promotion system, which is doing live streams daily or weekly. And live streams don't get the greatest number of views from YouTube in my experience, but you can push them out to LinkedIn, you can push them out to X, you can push them out to, I think, to Pinterest, even TikTok if you qualify to do live streams. So live streams can be a tremendous, powerful promotion tool when you look at all the channels. You can push them out to Facebook pages. If you do them using the Facebook interface, you could do them to Facebook groups, but you can no longer, currently when I'm recording this, you can no longer use a third-party software in order to do that, which makes me a little bit sad, but it's why you don't want to rely just on one platform. So in promotion, you have paid media, or you have earned media, which is your content marketing, and then you have affiliate marketing. Those are probably your main channels. If you're a really great content marketer, then you can use Content Marketer to build your list, or if you're really persistent, right? I do quite a bit of content marketing. That's what I'm doing right now with this video. Earned media, paid media is great if you have some budget and you're really great at numbers. I'm not a numbers person. You got to be really great at staying on top of it daily, at routine, and running the numbers and knowing the numbers, watching the numbers like, oh, if that's you, then you might be just tremendous at paid media. If you're a great networker, then you would be natural at affiliate marketing. And if you are an idea person and you like to write or you like to talk and make videos, or you can also just do a lot of writing, then you would be a natural for content marketing. I have a product called the four sources of traffic that goes into this concept in extreme depth and helps you at each step of the way, right? So let's just recap promotion. The big objections are you don't know anyone, no affiliates will promote me, don't know how. The solutions are affiliates are a great way to leverage. There is a learning curve in how to recruit affiliates, and so you got to really learn how to do it, because if you won't probably have much success if you go out there and you have no clue what you're doing. You want to turn your customers into affiliates. Make it easy for them to tell their friends. Share it on Facebook, share it on X, and so forth. You got to decide what's your style. If you're a writer, write. If you're a talker, talk. If you're a worker, network. And that kind of tells you your best source or way to get traffic. If you like to talk, my little 20-minute promotion system can be a real gold mine on doing videos. And then if you want it on doing live streams, and then if you really want to go for it, building up a YouTube channel, your serious views come by doing videos like I am now. And I have pushbuttonviews.com/go that teaches you how to do that. If you go to resellertoolkit.com/kitchen sink, there's all my products there. So anyway, enough personal promotion. Let me say this. Out of all of this, I think the one problem, one solution idea that Jason Fladlien came up with is probably the most important, being able to just create that product fast and test it fast. And the other thing I would say is I like to write the sales page before, or the sales copy, video sales letter, webinar, create it before I do the product. Because sometimes you'll do a product and then you're like, oh crap, I can't write a sales letter for it because I didn't say anything sexy or interesting or exciting. I just did meat and potatoes. Russell Brunson, in his book Expert Secrets, has the most brilliant idea. It's very simple. But he said, on the one hand, we have what he calls the prolific marketer. On the other hand, we have what he calls the boring marketer. Now, so boring is you just do meat and potatoes products or nothing sexy or exciting about it. People ain't going to buy it. It's very hard to sell that. You got to have New, Easy, Safe, Big. You got to have NESBY in there, right? On the other side is what he kind of calls off the edge of the moon. It's so unique, you know, and it's so different that like nobody wants to buy it because it's just, you're too far ahead of the trend or the learning curve. So his point is you want to be in the sweet spot. You don't want to be off the edge of the moon, crazy, new idea that's just, you know, just people can't really identify with it. Like I had a product called UFMD, Unified Field Marketing Discovery. People were like, what? On the other hand, you don't want to have a boring product. I've had my share of those too that were kind of hard to sell because they just weren't exciting enough. They just weren't interesting enough. It was too much meat and potatoes and not enough sex appeal, right? So you got to strike the balance in between those. And if you get that right, you do it. You learn how to write some copy and do a decent sales page or video sales letter or webinar. And you start out by keeping your product simple, one problem, one solution, 3-hour products. I think you'll find that you can become a success in the digital products business, in the info products business. It's been a very good business for me. I started doing it in 1997, been doing it as my full-time living ever since. Now, full-time doesn't mean you have to work full-time. For probably 12 years, I worked about an hour a day, so don't think that. You know, I saw that thing, I don't know, I saw that thing, the 4-hour work week, and I thought, my God, if I do this, I'm going to have to work 3 extra hours. You know, it's a joke, but I probably ran it roughly an hour a day. I had an employee that ran most of the business for me at that point in time. All right, that's it. So we covered 3 major ideas today. Number 1 was the product. Get the 36 ideas, boil it down to 12, do a product survey, 1 problem, 1 solution, create toggle sites. Number 2 was the sales page. Don't be afraid of long copy. Keep your sentences short if you have problems with grammar. Use the 4 U's in the headline. Look up Kyle Milligan on YouTube, New, Easy, Safe, Big. I also cover this when I talk in some of my playlists on copywriting. Put your big promise in the headline, credibility up front, story if you have a good one, modules, break down your modules and bullet points and price. And then finally, promotion, you know, use affiliates, but find your traffic style. If you write, if you like to talk. If you're a networker, do affiliates and network your end off. Get on virtual summits, do podcast interviews, go freaking crazy with it. Now, if you want to learn more at Reseller Toolkit, marlinsnews.com/70K. Those links are all in the description along with other freebies that I have for you. But that in marlinsnews.com/70K will get you my free report on how I sold 70,000 plus products online. So be sure you grab that. I've got other free reports there. Below you'll also find my marlinsnews.com blog. You will find some links to other videos. You'll find a link to my kitchen sink where I have all of my products. And, of course, you can go to I have my playlist, some of my best playlists down there, so you can go and binge watch some of the other videos. Thank you for watching me today. Subscribe to the channel if you're not, so you can find out about the next video I do, and because you don't want to miss it. And until I see you the next time, this is Marlin Sanders here. Some people call me the king of step-by-step internet marketing, and I want to wish you the best of success.